So I just got done watching Ant-Man 3, and I have a good amount to say. I'm going to do a non-spoiler section, and then I'll get into spoilers later. And with that all out of the way.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
Alright, right off the bat, I'm going to get out of the way. I did not like this movie. I genuinely feel it just wasn't a good movie. Now, I don't know if I'm in the minority with that opinion or the majority. I did see the critics' reviews after the movie. Most of the time, I don't like looking at the reviews before I watch a movie because I feel like sometimes it could sway my opinion. I like to go into movies completely blind and form my own opinion. I don't really want to listen to anyone else. I think everyone should do the same. I think you should watch this movie. You should form your own opinion. You might like it. We don't have to agree. Everyone sees film differently. But yeah, I saw the critics, and it seems like I aligned with the critics more this time. I don't always agree with the critics. There's quite a few movies where the critics really disliked the movie, and I completely disagreed. But I did see the audience score, and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes was like an 84% last time I checked. So I don't know if I'm in the minority when it comes to the general audience or what the opinions of other MCU fans. But either way, I don't care. I didn't like this movie if I'm in the majority or minority or whatever. So without getting any spoilers away, I just found the plot to be very inconsistent. It was all over the place. The CGI, the amount of CGI in this movie was crazy. I'm someone that doesn't like too much CGI in movies and TV shows. This was super overboard and it didn't look good at all. It looked like it came out of something from Spy Kids 3D. It was just not good. It was hard to look at and it was hard to take anything seriously. Nothing felt real. I didn't feel a single thing. Well, I felt some things for the characters, but I'm talking about for the world and other characters. I guess I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it was so much CGI. I couldn't feel anything in the world when we saw the quantum realm or anything like that. Also, I made this point in an earlier video or a video I made before. I don't understand how the CGI is progressively getting worse. I feel like the CGI in this movie was somehow worse than Thor 4. What is going on? Why is the CGI always looking so bad? It's breaking the immersion of the movie, and it's literally hurting my eyes. It's so much CGI, and it's not good at all. Like I said, it looks like it's something that came out of Spy Kids 3D or the Star Wars prequels. It wasn't good. Also, I feel like it affected the actor's performance as well. I don't want to get into spoilers, but obviously you saw in the trailers they're in the quantum realm. They're in behind blue and green screen in their scenes, and I'm sure they're talk to a lot of tennis balls because for VFX stuff, a lot of times actors have to talk to tennis balls for CGI moments and stuff like that. Why even have real actors if you're just gonna make the whole movie CGI? Just might as well just make an animated movie. It was hard to look at. It looked fake, and it was really a big negative for me. And obviously the story sucked too, but that was a negative as well. And like I said, there was things inconsistent with the plot. And speaking of the plot, let's go into plot armor, because there was so much plot armor in this movie. It was crazy. There were so many situations where something should have happened, or this could happen, or that could have happened, and the plot armor prevented that from happening. I don't want to get into spoilers, but let's just say plot armor was ridiculous in this movie. And I think one last negative I'll leave off with, because there's more negatives, but I can't really talk about because I want to get into spoilers and really dive into the negatives without not saying anything specific. There's one character in this movie that they introduced. I think you saw that character in the trailers, or if you didn't, I don't want to give it away. But there's this new character, I guess you could say, in this movie, and holy crap, it's terrible. It's so bad. It's ridiculous, and I'm genuinely what the hell? I don't know what the hell that was. There's a character in this movie who was just what the hell throughout the whole time. It's bad. Honestly, I'm really disappointed. I thought Phase 5 was going to kick off to a good start. I really thought this movie was going to be pretty good. It wasn't good. I wasn't expecting anything amazing. I was expecting this movie to be the best Ant-Man movie, though, because it had Kang. It was introducing, the kickoff to Phase 5. We're getting hints of the Kang dynasty. This movie is so skippable. It's honestly really disappointing. You really don't have to see this movie, and I bet it won't affect future Ant-Man movies, and it won't even affect the future of Phase 5 or anything, or maybe just a little bit, but it's just, this movie is so skippable, and it's a waste of time. It's not good. It's not terrible. It's not one of the worst Marvel movies of all time. It's not one of the worst. I mean, yeah, it's one of the worst MCU movies, but it's not like at the bottom or anything like that. For me personally, I would like rate. There's quite a few more like MCU movies that I would rate lower than Ant-Man 3, like Captain Marvel, The Incredible Hulk, Eternals, Thor Ragnarok, and Thor Love and Thunder. I know a lot of people like Thor Ragnarok. I thought that movie was just really stupid and made Thor look into a joke, and Hulk was a joke in that movie. I'm sure there's more MCU movies that I would rate lower, or maybe I gotta really think about somewhere an Ant-Man 3 would drop on my list. But at the end of the day, I did not like this movie, and the more I think about it, the more I dislike about the movie. Again, I know it's just an Ant-Man movie. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's just an Ant-Man movie. You don't have to think about it too much or whatever." It's like, well, first off, I liked the first Ant-Man movie, and I thought the second one was alright, and I genuinely think this one's bad. I don't care if it's just an Ant-Man movie. I still want the movie to be good, or I would like to at least enjoy it. It's also sad like how the Ant-Man movies somehow get worse every movie. I don't understand why the Ant-Man movies are getting worse and going in a downward direction instead of upward. And one last negative I'll leave off with. I think I said one last already, but either way, this is another negative with the movie. I didn't like Cassie in this movie. I mean, I didn't dislike her. I just didn't care for her in this movie. I thought I was going to actually like her as a character, because I'm sure she's going to be part of the Young Avengers or something like that, but I didn't like her in this movie. Or, sorry, I didn't care for her in this movie. There were some moments where it's just like, what the heck? She was just kind of like, it was weird with this character in this movie. I'll get into spoilers, but I didn't leave off with a positive feeling about this character. Okay, so let's get on to some of the positives. Ant-Man's obviously good. I like Ant-Man as a character. Wasp was fine. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Janet, was good. I would say she's the second best character and performance in this movie. And obviously, I think the standout is Kang. His character isn't like it's super all over the place, but the performance by Jonathan Majors was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was a really good performance, very serious performance. I'm glad it wasn't super jokey or anything like that. This felt like a very serious character that didn't belong in an Ant-Man movie in some ways. Jonathan Majors deserved better with like the writing for his character and just for like a better movie overall. I can't really think of any other positives at the moment. Like, I'm really trying with this movie. I really can't think of like anything too good about the movie, and I'm really like honestly like disappointed. Like I've said in previous videos, I want to see the MCU succeed. I'm an MCU fan, or I liked the first three phases. I did not really like Phase 4. I'm not giving up on the MCU after one bad phase, and like I said in my MCU Can It Be Saved video, I said it's going to take some time. I believe for the MCU to completely find its footing again, it might take until Phase 6. If it doesn't feel right in Phase 6 and we're still having these problems, then yeah, I'm going to start getting really negative on the MCU. And right now I'm not negative on the MCU as a whole, but I am negative with this specific movie. And I really wish I liked it, because I really was hoping for Phase 5 to get off to a good start. And unfortunately, for me at least, that wasn't the case. I'm going to give this film a 50%. It's like right down the middle for me. It's not like terrible. It's not bad. I mean, there are some like good, I don't want to say good stuff, but there's some like decent moments in the movie, some great acting performances. And if you really like turn your brain off, I'm not saying that's the only way you're going to enjoy this movie. Maybe you really like the plot and the characters. For me, the only way I was going to enjoy this movie is if I didn't let the CGI get to me, and if I like turned my brain off and just like not worry about anything else, just like enjoy it for what it is. Even then, I don't think I personally would be able to enjoy it. I know I watched it with someone and they thought the movie was alright and it was cute and fun. I mean, that's probably what a lot of people are going to think. I'm guessing that's what the majority of people, like, besides the critics, think. It's just like a fun, turn your brain, like, it's a cute movie or whatever, and that's completely fine. And maybe you really think this movie is a masterpiece. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to enjoy a movie. I'm just saying, for me, like, I don't think I would. I didn't enjoy the movie. I think there are some decent parts. It's not a terrible movie. It's a 50%. Alright, let's get on to spoilers. Spoiler warning. You have been warned in 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's get on to the spoilers. Alright, so I have a lot to say, and I'm going to probably go all over the place. Let's start off with MODOK, who's the worst part in this movie, I believe. So Apparently they took Yellow Jacket from the first Ant movie and made him into MODOK. I felt like that was just a terrible decision. I don't understand why he was even brought back. I guess they felt like, oh, let's make this full circle or what, something like that. It was the whole. There was no reason for him to be in this movie. He literally says Ant-Man is like his brother. I don't know if that was a joke or I don't understand. They barely knew each other. That was ridiculous. They kind of ruined that character, Yellow Jacket. They turned him into a joke. Was surprised. MODOK in the movie was terrible. The CGI face MODOK had was terrible. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't MODOK introduced in Captain America the Winter Soldier? It wasn't like that evil supercomputer that we saw in Captain America the Winter Soldier? Wasn't that supposed to be MODOK? Again, I could be wrong. I don't script my reviews, so I'm kind of going all over the place, but I believe that was supposed to be MODOK. Like I said, I could be wrong. But either way, MODOK was just terrible in this movie. They ruined the Yellow Jacket's character, and they ruined a cool concept with MODOK. It was just bad. Okay, let's go on to Kang, who I believe Jonathan Majors did a great performance. The character of Kang itself didn't really make any sense to me in some ways. Like, I mean, I understand like his motivation, but I don't understand. There was like so many scenes where he could have just eliminated everybody because he was like so freaking powerful. He said he killed the Avengers, he killed all these people, and for some reason he couldn't just wipe out Ant-Man and the Wasp. And there was like so many moments where he could have just wiped everyone out, killed someone, or done something of consequence, but instead he just stayed up in his tower and let his little robots fight everyone. And then he finally came down and started wiping people out, but he couldn't wipe out Ant-Man, Wasp, and Cassie. Like, there was like so many moments where the movie, I mean, they had plot armor. Ant-Man, the Wasp, Cass. Like, there were so many moments where Kang could wipe them out, and for some reason he just stood there or just didn't flat out end them. I probably wouldn't have noticed that if the movie itself was better and the plot was more interesting and there wasn't so much CGI. I really feel like they could have done like more practical effects than anything else. Like, actually build some sets. It's really not that difficult. Just like Star Wars did. If Star Wars can do it, then you guys can do it too. Like, build some sets. Everything looked like it was behind a green screen or blue screen. I don't know if they were using that stagecraft stuff that they've been using. I think they used a little bit of that in Thor: Love and Thunder. It's essentially the thing that they use in The Mandalorian. It's like a virtual set instead of using like green screen or blue screens. Like, they just create a virtual set. I don't know if they used that or not. If they did, it didn't look good. I don't know why it looked better in The Mandalorian than it did in this show. But yeah, like another thing too, if The Mandalorian or like any Star Wars project can create its own world with using practical effects and like not a lot of CGI, then Ant-Man and Quantumania could have done that too, because there was like a lot of inspiration from like Star Wars. I feel like it looked like the world of the Quantumania looked like it kind of took inspiration from Star Wars in a little bit, and they really should have created more practical effects instead of everything being CGI. The characters were mostly CGI. There were some real people, and obviously Bill Murray was in this movie for no reason. So yeah, there was some real effects and like real practical people, and obviously, and there's like not everything was CGI, but most of it and the characters were CGI. I don't know why. I didn't care. They all looked bad. There was this one guy who had this joke about like holes in him. So stupid. I literally was like, this is so stupid. When the guy was like, I finally have holes in me. Freaking stupid. I really couldn't believe what. I'm sorry. It was such a stupid joke. Why was that in the movie? It wasn't even funny. And to me, it wasn't. It was ridiculous. It was like this long-lasting joke about how he wanted holes in him, and he finally had holes in him. What are we, like 3? I mean, I know the Ant-Man movies aren't supposed to be like this crazy thing or whatever, but you had a movie with Kang in it, and then you had a movie about a guy, like the two characters in this movie. One guy was super serious and was like Kang the Conqueror, and the other guy was like, oh, I have holes in me. How are those two things in this movie? Ridiculous. And another thing too, the humor in this movie was so forced, it was unbelievable. It's like they had to have a joke in there just to slip it in. Kang was like super serious, and there was like some moments where it was just like, oh, here's a little bit of humor so the audience doesn't get bored. It's like they're ringing a little bell of humor. It's like, oh, here's some humor for you guys. Don't get bored or whatever. Oh my god, the humor has to like cut down a little bit, especially in a movie with Kang in it. I know Ant-Man movies are always supposed to be funny. It's just the way it was done. I didn't like the humor in this movie. Well, I liked some of the humor. There was some good humor. Like I remember one moment where he's like, "Thank you, Spider-Man." And that was a moment in the trailer I laughed. There was some other humorous stuff too, but I don't know. I just remember the holes joke where that one guy was like, "Oh, I finally have holes in me." Freaking stupid. Oh my god. I know I'm talking about that joke too much, but it was probably the worst part of the movie for me. So let's talk about Cass. And like I said, I don't dislike the character. There's some moments where she was just kind of like cringe. I guess I remember the one moment she was doing this lame ass speech that somehow inspires all of Quantumania. I thought that was pretty stupid and lame. It was just very like cringe in my opinion. But yeah, I didn't really feel anything for a character, and I think that's kind of like a trend, except for Kang. But it's been mainly like a trend recently where I just don't care about like a lot of the new characters because I don't think they're that interesting, and I don't think they're that good most of the time. There are some new characters I like Yelena was pretty good. I like the new Hawkeye. I thought she was cool. Played by Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld does great stuff in almost everything she does. So obviously I was gonna like the character, and it's mainly because of the performance more than the character itself. But yeah, I'm going off track. But anyway, something that's I've been kind of like thinking about also. I remember from like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like I don't remember Janet feeling like any sort of negative way about the quantum realm, and also didn't Ant-Man go into the quantum realm with the help of Hank and Janet at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, like in the post-credit scene, and he obviously ends up getting stuck in the quantum realm. All of a sudden, this weird feeling about the quantum realm. I feel like this is new coming from Janet, and like I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. But I feel like this kind of came out like nowhere, pretty much, and just like, oh, Janet had this really dark history with the quantum realm and Kang, and it's like, when? I feel like if she was so like negative towards the quantum realm, I don't think she would have had Scott go into the quantum realm at the post-credits scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I could be wrong. There was some sort other, maybe there was like some sort of other circumstance with the quantum realm. But when you go into this movie, she's just like, oh, please don't talk about the quantum realm. I don't know if that's an inconsistency or if I'm just not remembering things properly, but I'm pretty sure I am remembering things properly, and this is some sort of inconsistency. And I'm gonna go back to Kang real quick because I remember something else too. I don't know too much about Kang from the comics. I read Marvel comics. I've read a good amount of Marvel comics. Not as much as I used to, and I haven't read every single thing. But like I said, I haven't read too much with Kang in it. But I did read Young Avengers comics, and if you guys read Young Avengers, Kang, there's a character named Iron Lad who's supposed to be a young version of Kang. I'm guessing Iron Lad is another variant or part of like the dynasty of the other Kangs. I know I'm going way off topic, but I was just wondering because it was just like I remember Kang was explaining how there's multiple Kangs, and if you saw the post-credit scene, there was a lot of Kangs. I'm not sure if they're still going to be able to do Iron Lad or not, or like the Iron Lad story with Kang in it. But I did like the Young Avengers comics, and I did like Iron Lad, so I was just curious. And I don't know how much the MCU is changing from the original Kang Dynasty story. But yeah, I think I covered a lot with the spoiler sections. I didn't like I said, like the characters were inconsistent. Characters had plot armor. The best characters were Ant-Man. The Wasp was fine. She didn't really do anything. Hank Pym was just kind of there. I liked Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet. Cassie had a good amount of cringe scenes. I remember there's other cringe scenes I thought was just not good either. The humor was like very missed, in my opinion. Too much CGI. MODOK was terrible. They ruined the Yellow Jacket because of it. And oh yeah, and another thing, nothing of consequence happens in this movie. I really thought this movie was gonna like have Ant-Man possibly make a deal with Kang, and that's another thing too. Why didn't Kang agree to the deal? They had a deal. If Kang just like went through with the deal that he made with Ant-Man, all of this could have been avoided. Why did he want to keep Cass? He was like, oh well, your daughter's better off without you. Let me just not give you back your daughter for some random reason. I don't understand that. I was like, the movie. I was focusing on other parts of the movie, so they might have explained why. I just remember being like, why didn't Kang give back Cassie, and why did he not just agree to the deal? Because if he just agreed to the deal, Ant-Man wouldn't have came at him like that. And like I said, I think it would have been pretty interesting if, first off, I think something that should have explored is the fact that Ant-Man and Cassie kind of like lost their relationship because he was gone for so long, and I think that might have been I think that would have been interesting to see like a difficult dynamic between the two of them. And we kind of saw that in the beginning with her going to jail. Thought they were going to explore that more of like, oh, I have a troubled daughter because I wasn't there as a father for her. And maybe like Kang would have offered him like another deal and like of getting that time back with his daughter, and I think that should have been the plot of the movie. I really thought Ant-Man was going to make a mistake that he would have to reverse, similar to what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home, where it was the hero's fault. I think that could have been something interesting with Ant-Man and have it be his fault, but at the same time, he's protecting his daughter. I think there could have been more to explore if I'm making any sense. I feel like there's so much to explore they could have done with Ant-Man 3, and they just didn't do it. They chose the safest plot possible, and it wasn't even a good plot. They made us try to care for the Quantumania characters in the Quantumania world. I didn't give a crap about it. And then also they had a random Bill Murray cameo. Another thing I don't like is these random celebrity cameos in these MCU movies. It's so distracting. It's like reading a comic and all of a sudden you're seeing an actor who's just playing himself. It's ridiculous. It doesn't help when they play themselves too. Bill Murray just played himself just for a cameo, and I guess it was just to bring in more people. I guess I like I said, I don't like that. I think a character like that could have been played by an actual unknown actor, or that character didn't even need to be in the movie. The only reason why that character was in the movie was for Bill Murray to randomly be in the movie for some reason. It's just a little nitpick. I'm probably nitpicking because I don't like the movie, and I think I should stop here because I'm just nitpicking at this point. And yeah, this movie's super skippable. I really thought there was going to be some serious consequence to this movie. And yes, I know it's just an Ant-Man movie. The trailer looked like there was going to be some serious ramifications. You're introducing Kang, who's supposed to be the big bad, and his character was super inconsistent. His power levels were all over the place. At one point, he just like not destroys everyone, but for some reason, he doesn't destroy Ant-Man, Wasp, and Cass. Why does he not accept the deal with Ant-Man? Why does he not follow through with his deal that he accepted with Ant-Man? Give back his daughter, and then he could have went on his way. But instead, he didn't do that. I'm not really sure why. They had a deal, like Ant-Man said. And I don't understand why he didn't follow through with the deal. I didn't get that. What was Kang going to do with Cass? Well, that's all I got to say. On to the next one, I guess. I can't wait for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Hopefully, I'm not let down by that like I was let down this movie. Maybe this was just one bad apple in Phase 5. But like I said, Phase 5 is like another Phase 4, then it is what it is. If Phase 6 is like another Phase 4, then we're going to have a serious problem. I think Phase 6 is around the time I would be hoping that things get back on track, but we shall see.